The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. This single interview may have revealed Israel's biggest problem, and it wasn't asked by an enemy. This was supposed to be a routine interview. It wasn't. When a female warrior from the United Kingdom, a journalist, Zani Main Bedders, sat across from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, there was no raised voice, no hostility, no chaos, but just calm questions and answers that sadly stopped working. She started carefully. She acknowledged his worldview, his argument that Israel is fighting extremism, fanaticism, and forces that reject its existence. For a moment, it sounded like understanding. They both were understanding each other. Then she leaned forward and reframed everything. What she said next turned the interview into a global reckoning. A global reckoning. She told him that around the world, people no longer see Israel the way it sees itself. For real, things that even men cannot talk about can see. This lady was bold. They don't see a liberal democracy defining itself. Who is this lady? They see a country defined by military force, a country accused by critics of unaliving tens of thousands in Gaza, a country that, in their eyes, is offering no political future, only endless war. Who is this woman? This woman just confronted the unconfrontable. Who is this woman? Then came the sentence that froze the room. She reminded Netanyahu that he has been accused of war crimes and that in parts of Europe, his freedom to travel is no longer guaranteed. Arrest, she suggested, is no longer unthinkable. And she made something very clear. This is not campus radicalism. This is not French activism. This is global public opinion.
There is a huge battle today between the forces of civilization, the forces of modernity, and the very fanatic forces who want to take us back to the early Middle Ages, and do so with a violence that is unimaginable. You've seen these pictures of people cutting open the chest of an enemy, these Islamists, tearing out the heart. The person is still alive and eating the heart. That tells you something. Now, that mentality, that fanaticism has to be confronted. It will move and invade your countries, and it will destroy them. Israel is not just fighting our battle, it's fighting the battle against radical Islam that threatens the future of the world. And I think many people thought communism would threaten the world, or China would threaten the world. I'm saying that this untethered force of an extremist ideology that knows no limits, if it has nuclear weapons, the ballistic missiles to deliver them, and the masses that will destroy democracies, burn Christians.
Prime Minister,
we're committed to defending Christians around the world and in the Middle East. If they win the day, we all lose. Israel is defending itself, but in so doing, we're defending Western civilization.
Prime Minister, that is one way of viewing the world, and I have some sympathy with some of what you've said. Let me give you another way, which is that many people around the world see the state of Israel as a country that is exclusively using military force, that has killed 70,000 people in Gaza, that is doing nothing to create a sustainable future for people there. That is a country, you've been accused of being a war criminal. That if you went to go to several countries in Europe, you're going to get arrested. This is not just mad campus radicalism. This is a feeling around the world. You said it yourself to us just now. In public opinion around the world, Israel is doing very poorly. And it's doing very poorly because people see a country that is behaving in a way that is not compatible with being a liberal democracy. And therefore, I think you have a problem. I think that loss of public opinion, what struck me from your autobiography was how subtly and for how long you have understood this. You know that political power comes from public opinion, and you know that you need to win the battle of public opinion, and you're losing it. You've absolutely lost it in Europe, but much more worryingly for you, you're losing it in America. And I think that what you've just told me about fanaticism is true in part, but it is not going to shape public opinion. People are going to roll their eyes and say, he's saying that anybody who says anything critical about Israel is anti-Semitic. He's giving this large, this story about fanaticism, and he's not accepting the fact that Israel is behaving in a way that we think is incompatible with the kind of liberal democracy.
Why don't you allow international journalists into Gaza?
I think we do, but we could do more, and we probably should.
But not without being with the IDF.
Yeah, well, that's not an uncommon practice, but I can tell you one thing. First of all, we don't want any journalists killed, and some have been tragically killed because there's crossfire.
Could you say definitively that you will allow the international press in without the IDF?
I didn't say without the IDF, but we can have more numbers than you can see. I mean, it's so small. You can't really, it's not like
I've been there with the IDF. It is small, but it is the more important thing is to allow the press in independently. And if you really want to change the perception of Gaza, then it is not. There's a ceasefire now in place.
Yeah, but it's still a war zone. We just had firing.
It's hard for me not to think that you have something that you want to hide when you won't let the press in.
No, it's not, but it's dangerous. We just had this now, today. We had rocket fire. A few days ago, we had sniper fire. That's yesterday, actually. I wouldn't be so cavalier about it. And the last thing I want to see is any of you or anyone else.
There have been a huge number of journalists killed in Gaza. So I don't think it's very easy for you to say that you are not concerned about people's lives.
Well, of course I am, because we didn't target them. Zani, we didn't target them. We don't kill journalists, and we don't jail them either, and we certainly don't execute them, as Hamas is doing, and some of the regimes that are criticizing us are doing. But I think that you're not going to hide anything. In fact, I hope you discover the truth. Go and see the number of trucks that are held up by Hamas.
Prime Minister, the minute you let journalists in independently, I will go back to Gaza. I've been with the IDF. I don't want to do that again. I will go independently the minute you let people in.
Isn't it important, though, for your Arab partners as well, in order to say...
Yes, it's important in public conversations. In private conversations, you want the truth. I mean, beyond the regular things. Many of them don't give a hoot.
They don't care about annexation.
They don't care about the Palestinian issue. They care about its effect on the street. They themselves say, we understand that there's so much chicanery there and so much corruption there, and that they say, we need something in order to continue the Abraham Accords, which I made with President Trump and the leaders of 4 Arab countries, and we got 4 peace treaties. And in fact, it's because they put aside this question and didn't try to drive it into a wall that we had the peace agreements with the Emirates, with Bahrain, with Morocco, and Sudan.
And then she hit him where it hurts most. This woman, she reached into Netanyahu's own past, his own writing, his autobiography. He has always understood one brutal truth of power. Gains don't create legitimacy. Public opinion does. And right now, she said that legacy is collapsing. Europe, she argued, is already lost. But what should truly worry him is something far bigger. What should truly worry him is something far bigger. Israel is losing America. Israel is losing America. Not because of anti-Semitism, not because of fanaticism, but because people are watching and judging. She challenged his repeated claim that criticism of Israel is driven by hatred. That argument, she said, no longer convinced anyone. People hear it and dismiss it. Because this is no longer about ideology. It is about actions. Hey! My heart though, I'm just a messenger. This journalist, she's even more than a man. And this is where the interview stopped being a conversation and became a warning. A country that calls itself a liberal democracy, she said, is being judged by the standards of a liberal democracy and falling that test in the eyes of millions. There was no shooting, no dramatic clash, just a quiet realization. Just a quiet realization. Israel's greatest threat right now is not a missile, not a militant group. It is the slow collapse of global trust. A force Benjamin Netanyahu has understood his entire life. His entire life. What a woman. What a journalist. This one, you over me. You over me. I rest my case. I have nothing to say. The woman is just a woman who went to any length to talk about things that even men. What are your thoughts? We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, Middle East, and in Israel.